must stay alive.
Welcome to Conversation on Legal Mountain, a podcast about the tribe. I'm your host, Lance, and joining me on episode 12 today is Hill.
Hey.
Liz.
Hello.
And Sabine.
Hi.
With episode notes done by Matt, Catha, and myself. So, episode 12, the screenplay was done by Harry Duffin, and it was directed by Wayne Terrell. And the episode synopsis will be read out by Liz.
Frightened by ghastly sounds coming from beneath the mall, the guys accompany Lex into the sewers to investigate. That is, all but Bray, who seems to know what the others are after. But the group may have an even bigger problem when a leak in the water tank is discovered.
Episode 12 kicks off with a mysterious creature roaming the mall. And this is this scene where we see Lex try to enforce his ideas on gender roles by gathering up all the boys to patrol, while all the girls are left to hide in the distance, really. With time critical, he quickly concedes and agrees to let the girls at least arm themselves as they huddle in the cafe. However, there's one member of the group who refuses to help, which is Bray. Before we look at Bray, let's turn a bit to poor Paul, because a brave young boy wants to help out, but Lex quickly shoots him down.
Lex, sir.
What?
Paul wants to come with you.
No way! He's deaf, he'll be a liability. All the girls and cowards can stay behind.
So a couple of questions here, but first of all, do you agree with Lex's reasonings for refusing Paul's help?
I want to give Lex the benefit of the doubt in that for him, he does see Paul as a liability and he can't protect everyone on his team if they don't have all their senses. But at the same time, I feel like this is one of the things where Lex is lacking in his leadership abilities. He isn't able to see what everyone can bring to the table. So if he thinks you're useless, he immediately writes you off. And that's just not conducive to getting everyone to work with you and want to work with you when you basically tell people, you're useless at this, don't want you, get out of here. He doesn't do it under the guise of protecting Paul, or I don't want you to get hurt, Paul, just you're useless to us, get out of here. And Paul already feels really sensitive about his disability. And here's this guy basically telling him that it makes him a useless object in his life. And so where I want to give him the benefit of the doubt, I just can't. It's not cool. It's not cool, man.
No, it really wasn't. But Lex could have done so much better. Like, a nicer approach would have been telling him to look after the women, make him feel like he has an important job. But yeah, I get why Lex would not think of that in the heat of the moment.
I think it was just very one track. Like, he does say that he's a liability. And I think someone who doesn't work enough with, like, the deaf community probably doesn't realize that he isn't as big as a liability. But yeah, so I think it was just a naive thing to say.
It's quite funny, yeah, because obviously Paul's already like proven his worth, if you want, by obviously alerting them all to Zoot. So it's like, I don't know, Lex should have kind of picked up on that, I think.
Yeah, but even like, that's in like a quiet area, like, in a heat of battle, it might not become, one of his stronger suits kind of thing. Like, That makes sense. Like, there's a lot going on. Like, even in like a crowded room with a lot of people, I, who am full of hearing, have sometimes hard time like bouncing off different conversations. So, if Paul at one point couldn't see that a ball was coming when they threw the ball, right? They said you have to make sure that he's looking at you. So if you're in a battle and he's not looking at you, but you're trying to say something, I think that's where it was going towards.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and I mean, if you think about it, even if Paul would have been able to hear, would Lex really have had any use for a child that age to come along with them?
Lex has already made it clear he does not consider Paul useful in any source anyway. I mean, even when it's not about protecting them all, every time he has to decide what to do with Paul, he's just like, ugh, put him in this group. I don't want to deal with him. I don't want to think about him. He didn't see Paul as a person. He's more respectful to Bob than he is to Paul. And
yeah, but he's not respectful to Patsy either, or Chloe. I mean, they're little kids. In his world,
It's probably a combination of dealing with a littler child and also having a child with a disability, in all honesty.
Yeah, I think it could
Like-
really be both.
Yeah. You know, like here, I don't know how to deal with younger children. Plus, you throw on this child who is deaf, and I really don't know what to do now. But he also hasn't made an effort either. So it's a catch-22.
He hasn't made an effort, but I mean, if you think you're going into battle against something unknown, would you take a child with you? I mean, yeah, I get that they're technically all children, but there's quite an age difference between Dal and Paul.
Yeah, that brings us on to the next question, really. Like, should everyone have been allowed to tackle the threat together as a group, like safety in numbers?
I don't know.
I don't know. It can go either way. Like, you know, on one hand, I see, you know, the safety in numbers. On the other hand, I see not everyone being able to hold their own in a fight situation. Like, these guys really haven't been tested with the unknown assailant. You know, we had Zoot in the mall where we all kind of saw him. And now it's this scary thing in those sewers. And we don't know if there's one. We don't know if there's 100.
I think the point of the scene is it's not that everyone should have gone to fight, because you're going to have people who aren't any good at it and who aren't interested in it. You know, Zandra doesn't want to fight anybody. She wants to stay behind and be protected. Amber wants to, and she should have the opportunity to do so. I think the point of the scene is that while Lex is right that people who are capable should be the ones going out to take care of it, and the people who are not should stay behind where they'll be safe and they're not a liability, he's making this judgment based on, you know, his sexist parameters. And it's like, you telling me that Dal can protect you better than Amber? He's 2 feet shorter than her. You know what I mean? So that's what I think the point of that scene is that it's a good idea to send the fighters forward, the ones who can defend themselves and think quick. But you can't do it based on gender, you know? And that's Lex's problem. He just immediately relegates all the girls to useless and all the guys to the fighters. And even the guys are like, we don't want to do this. We're scared. And so, yeah, that's where it's just, no, I don't think everyone should go out there because they're not all going to be good at it. But you shouldn't decide who's going to be good at it based on what body parts they happen to have.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
What lasting effect do you think this would have on Paul's confidence, like being relegated as both useless and then one of the girls?
Oh, that poor kid. That's awful. I mean, we live in a society where boys are basically told and taught at a young age that to be compared to a woman is the worst thing that could ever happen to you. You throw like a girl, you hit like a girl, you look like a girl. We teach our young men that that's the worst thing anyone could ever say to you because women are worthless, you know? And so you have this child who's like 10 years old and wants to prove his worth, who's basically being told you are absolutely worthless. And he's a child who has to fight in this world because of a disability he's had his whole life. And it's already hard enough to tackle this world with his disability. And yet he's never able to prove himself. He wants to be a part of this tribe. He's trying to do his bit. And when the authorities who are in charge of your safety are basically telling you you're worthless to them, I can't, that's horrifying. I just think about this child, and knowing that he's going to disappear soon hurts my heart, you know? I can't imagine someone saying that to my daughter. My daughter is on the spectrum, and I can't imagine her being in this situation where someone just tells her, like, you're not normal and you're no good because of it. I would stab him. I really would. Don't you ever make my child feel this way. I don't care what your excuse is. It's not okay to do that to someone. It just, the mom in me comes out, tiger mom.
I suppose you think this is very funny.
Not especially.
Letting everybody get into a blind panic. The kid's terrified. And all the time you knew. You knew what it was, didn't you?
Yes.
Well, why didn't you say something? What are you playing at, Bray?
Well, I promised Chloe I wouldn't tell her secret.
Oh, that's absurd.
No, Amber, I don't break promises.
Oh, Mr. High and Mighty, Mr. Self-Righteous. You are a #1 selfish jerk.
Okay, let's move on to Bray. Good old Bray. Bray obviously refuses to go with Lex and the others when Lex demands they will patrol, because obviously he knows that it is Bluebell. Obviously, as the rest of the tribe are surprised by him being a coward, Amber later visits him and Trudy, and she realizes what is going on. after everything's come out, obviously Bray explains that he made a promise to keep a secret to Chloe. Let's just latch onto that for a moment. Like, is this a valid excuse for not diffusing what is a really serious situation of an unknown threat invading the mall and basically allowing everyone to panic?
No.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. I mean, I get that it's hilarious to send Lex after it like that. But, I mean, come on. He could have told the girls what was going on the moment Lex and the others left that part of the building.
Like, every time I watch this, like, I love, like, him and Trudy laughing about the fact that it's a cow, and I think that's adorable.
Yeah.
But then, like, he winds everyone up. And, you know, there are young kids, and, you know, the kids do hold it very well together, but in a real situation, like, you know, everyone's so high strung and over nothing. And to not diffuse the situation earlier, like, so that we could all laugh that we all got scared by a cow in the sewer, like, I just think it's a dick move on his part, just to be honest.
It is. I just totally get wanting to wind Lex up and finding it hilarious that Lex is trying to get other people to go with him because he doesn't dare to go face this little cow on his own. But yeah, I do think it's mean that he didn't tell the girls and Paul what was going on.
He's just being a self-righteous prig, you know? He really is. He thinks,
good at
himself, well, it's not dangerous, so it's okay to watch everyone get upset. He thinks it's funny to laugh at Lex. But hello, Lex at least was willing to do something. Yeah. He didn't know it wasn't a threat. He didn't know, and he was still willing to go out there and do his part and protect his tribe. And, you know, Bray's sitting here all high and mighty like, ha ha. And it's like, what have you done for this tribe? Yeah. Lex has problems, tons of them. He's a horrible person, but he is a proactive one, okay? And he's at least willing to do things to achieve what he's trying to do. And you're just sitting on your butt, judging everybody, and you're no better than anyone. And so, yeah, I just think he's being a total dick.
Like,
it does make me wonder, what would Bray have done if he hadn't known what it was? Because part of me still feels he would have gone with the guys if he had no clue what it was.
No, he still would have stayed behind to protect Trudy.
He would have stayed with Trudy.
Yeah.
I think.
It's going to take Bray a while before he decides to get on board with his team. When he does, he will. We'll see in the future. When there's a threat, he will be there by Lex's side. But right now, I don't think he's there.
No.
I really don't.
It would, like, no matter if Lex is involved, Bray would have just been like, nope, it's your call and your circus, and I'm not having anything to do with it at this point. Because that's what they do. Lex is the perceived threat, and he doesn't want to be on his team.
Mm-hmm.
Can I just say how adorable it looked having Bray and Trudy have that moment together with the baby on the bed, finally laughing about something for once.
It is cute, but there's something I was wondering about that scene. When you first see them, Bray is laughing just as hard as Trudy. He clearly has just told her what it is, and they're both just giggling and having a good laugh over it. But then when we return to them, after everyone knows it was just a cow, Trudy's still laughing, and Bray's like, it's not that funny, Trudy. And it's like, Bray, you thought it was funny, and suddenly she's laughing too much. She's enjoying it too much for you. Mm-hmm. Why are you such a judgmental prick?
Isn't that right after Amber rips into him, though?
Yeah, she hasn't ripped into him
before, yeah.
Because I was going to say, maybe it's because Amber, but...
It's like, you're the one who caused this, and now he's acting like, well, it's not that funny, Trudy. I'm like, then if you didn't think it was funny, why'd you do this? And now he's acting all self-righteous, like, oh no, I was just keeping a promise, and I wasn't trying to make a fool out of Lex. Like, yes, you were. Yes, you were.
He totally.
He's just so judgmental.
So is Amber, though.
Oh yeah.
I don't think she's anywhere near as bad as him.
She's not as bad as her.
Nowhere near.
They deserve each other.
No.
Oh, Sabine, stop.
No.
Sorry. In fact, just thinking about that in this episode, watching Bray make eyes at Amber, I'm like, she is too good for you.
Right?
I really, I didn't realize how much Bray annoyed me in season 1, because this is the first time I've had to watch it and analyze it rather than just enjoy the ride. And I'm just like, oh, Bray, I really don't like you as much as I thought I did. Ugh, you're gross.
You're gross. I've never been a huge Bray fan, so it's just like,
I used to love season 1 Bray, but now that I have to actually analyze his actions, I don't like this guy. I don't. And I'm like, Amber, run, sweetie. You deserve so much better. So much better.
You're upsetting the baby. Oh, why don't you just take her away then? In fact, why don't you just all go, all of you? What? You are both so selfish. You do nothing to help. You take and never give. You use Celine like a slave.
She's pushed her way in. She's after Bray.
Trudy.
You think you're so intelligent, so clever. Winding Lex up, trying to humiliate him. Well, at least he had the guts to stand for a leader.
Hey, I don't believe in leaders.
Well, what precisely do you believe in then, Bray? Anything? Nothing? Perhaps when you've figured it out, you can come down off your pedestal and tell us poor little morons.
Yeah, let's talk about that because that was glorious. Amber's always great when she has a rant, and when she exposes Trudy and Bray, it is so good to see. When she basically just tells them to leave because they're doing absolutely nothing, they're useless, and all they do is take from everyone and everyone. So that was fantastic. But what do you think of Amber's points there? Well, yeah, was she right about her assessment of the two?
Oh, she was spot on. There's not a thing I find wrong with what she said to them. Somebody needed to.
I love that scene with Amber. Like, I think I said it earlier. Like, just her ripping into Bray. Like, I can't find the quotes, but I love that scene.
I mean, Amber is one of the most patient people ever, and if you make her upset, you've done messed up. Because she's quick to forgive and let things go. Even in the next scene when she's talking to Trudy, she's welcoming. Hi, how are you? I would have been like, get out of my room. I'm still mad at you.
You do nothing to help, and you take and you never give.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is like the nail on the head right there. Like, that's so true of both of them. And here we're having to do something, and you just sit there and laugh about it.
What exactly do you believe in, Bray? Anything? Yeah. Nothing? Maybe when you figured out, you can get off your high horse and tell the rest of us little morons. I'm like, oh, yeah, because that's his whole attitude. Yeah. I'm better than all of you. I already know what the world should be like. And it's like, well, then do something about it. And, Trudy, you're upsetting the baby. Like, then take her away. We didn't ask for a baby. You're the one who begged to stay here, and you've made us nothing but miserable since you arrived. I loved it. Everything she said. I'm like, you were right on.
Yeah, Amber was on point.
And it also reminds you just Trudy, her spoiled nature. She's shocked that anyone would call her out like that. Like, what? You don't want us here? Like, no. Why would they, Trudy?
Yeah, right?
Oh my goodness!
But everyone should be graced to have my presence, Liz. Don't you know that?
Oh, honey.
I don't care if it was only a cow. I thought you were very brave.
What are you gonna give me for protecting you? Was that all?
Cheek. Some fellas would die for that.
Yeah, let's switch gears for a bit, and I want to focus a bit on Zandra's little exchange with Lex when he returns from conquering Bluebell. I think it says a lot about Zandra and her basically her dreams, because it's almost like the princess in her castle and the White Knight coming back after slaying the dragon. She's built up in her head this kind of fantasy.
But I love it.
Yeah.
It's another example of the game that Lex and Zandra are playing. They both have this idea of how relationships work, but they're like children playing at it. You have Lex in an earlier episode said, "What do you want from me, Zandra? I've taken care of you. I've looked after you." And in his eyes, that means she owes him something. That's the way it's supposed to work. He provides for her and she gives him what he wants. And then you have Zandra, who in her version of this game is he has to prove himself like a knight. And she gives him favors like a lady in waiting until he's proven himself enough, and then he can have her. And they're both children playing at this idea of what being in a relationship is, where you're both earning points to get what you want. Yeah. And eventually it'll blow up on them. But yeah, I this is where you see it. Like, oh my goodness. And that's why they work, because they're both willing to play the game. Like, they get it. Like, Lex understands this is Zandra's game. I have to play through I gotta jump through these hoops to play her game, and then I win. I will get a reward, and Zandra will give him a reward. And you can see later he doesn't know how to function with a woman who doesn't treat a relationship that way.
Yeah.
Because he genuinely believes this is the way it works. They both think this is the way it works. And so when one of them breaks the rules, they're genuinely confused about it.
Mhm.
It's a very adorable moment. And yeah, she looks like the princess in her castle. He's the Dark Knight. And did I just call him Batman?
I think you did. Yeah, you did. You called him the Dark Knight.
I called him the Dark Knight. I was thinking of
You
like
just-
a chessboard.
Yeah. Like I don't even want to go there. But yeah, you just call it Lex is Batman. Liz said it. She secretly likes him.
Actually, I hate Batman, so that's why I don't want to
damn
compare
it.
him to Batman.
Oh.
Well, I was just thinking of the knight on the chessboard because Amber's
Yeah.
definitely the white knight, and Lex, I was like, oh, he's the Dark Knight, and
You know, we know where you're getting at.
Yeah.
There's another great Lex line since we're cutting that. But like, it's tomorrow today because of that dumb cow. Like, are you talking about the cow or are you talking about like the girls?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what?
Yeah.
I do like the conversation about the cow. I like how that whole scene plays out, and and I actually do like the fact that whether or not however you feel about Lex as a leader, I do like that he is considering. He's listening to all the points of view. His first thought is it's food, and that is a logical conclusion. Sorry, kid. I know it's your friend, but it's a cow. We need to eat. I need to provide. But then when it's pointed out to him that she could be more useful alive, you can see him genuinely thinking about that. Like,
Yeah.
Okay, that milk is more important than a one-time meal of burgers. So I love when Chloe goes to hug him, and he's like, "Get off of me!"
Yeah.
I did have to laugh in that scene though, because just before that, you have Jack going, "Careful, cows can still be dangerous," and Lex being with a not half as dangerous as Ryan when he wants a hamburger.
And then, of course, Ryan immediately makes friends with the cow.
Yeah.
I feel like Bluebell was self-sabotaging herself. That's how badly she wanted to get out of there.
Yep.
She's
Don't
like, I
make
don't
me
care.
drink any more creamer.
I don't care if they come and eat me. I want out.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Let the
It was
local have me.
I mean, that was some impressive echoing, but
I know.
I mean,
Oh, the ADR, man.
The ADR. Oh.
ADR or sound effect. I don't know, but just
No, I was thinking about the ADR in this episode because Patsy especially kind of annoyed me with
yeah.
her. And I was just like, oh, it's so obvious. So on the nose.
They're not like there are some episodes where the ADR is really great, and then there are others where you're just like, oh, that's so bad. Why? Why did you do that?
like Martin.
Yes. Like there had to be a better take. Like, what was there, a tsunami or something where they had to go to ADR? Like, come on.
That was definitely
I can't believe that's the only take that was good.
Poor Dwayne. He might listen to this someday and be like, wow.
You guys suck. Sorry, Dwayne. We love you.
Not personal, Dwayne.
But yeah, early Bray is. Yeah,
It's a tool bag. What did you call
Eventually,
it?
Bray will start getting some love for me, but right now, sorry,
Yeah,
Dwayne.
like what? Season 3, 2, something like that.
Season 4 when he's not there.
Season 4 is not there.
Sabine.
Damn.
I was
was
thinking
not
about that at
fun.
first. That was my first thought with season 4, but I didn't say
Wow.
it. Thanks, Sabine.
Sabine, that singed my eyes. Woo.
Sabine took my burn because I was too nice to do it.
What? I'm tired. That's what you get. Tired. My filter is switched off.
We're not standing for the sexist division of chores.
So we're just looking after ourselves in future.
Zandra, you're making me very angry.
Don't you even think about it, Lex.
You put them up to this, didn't you?
No, you drove them to it. Great bread, Celine. Zandra, weren't you going to show me how to do my hair?
Let's talk about bread. The girls rebelling against Lex's sexist division of duties steps up a notch when the girls refuse to make breakfast, but they make their own bread, and they all band together to help each other out. But yeah, this scene kind of raises quite an interesting issue because it's a very delicate balance that obviously this coup against Lex is having, because they need to stand their ground, but they need to be careful not to incur Lex's wrath too much, because we know that he can explode if pushed. So yes, just thinking about that, do you think the girls are playing with fire here? Because it could have easily have ended up really wrong.
I think it's actually playing it just right, because if Lex gets physically violent with people simply because they won't listen to him, he's going to lose leadership very fast. You know what I mean? Because it's, as soon as you realize, I can't even disagree with you, I'm not allowed, this is the way you're going to deal with it, you're not going to want that person to be a leader. You're not going to want them to be in charge of you if that's how they get you to do what they want, by physically hurting you. And when Amber calls him out on it, he's getting angry at Zandra. I'm warning you. And that's a really bad quality to have in a leader who, as soon as he's not getting his way or she's not getting their way, their instinct is to go to physical violence. And Amber calls him like, don't even think about it, Lex. And you see he catches himself and recognizes like, no, I can't, unfortunately, do that. That's not going to work. I'm not going to remain leader if I start punching people. But it does say that is a quality of his that's not going to help him keep his leadership. He can't just bully people and threaten them to do what he wants. So I don't think the girls are playing with fire. If he blows up, it works in their favor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. They know exactly where to hurt them. Because, they know the boys have been craving a good meal forever. And yeah, I think it was just right.
Because it's not the first time they've mentioned being worried that Lex would hurt them if they don't do what he wants. And Amber points out, what's he going to do to us? The other boys aren't going to let him hurt us. And she's right. The other boys would not stand for that. Sure, they're fine with making the girls cooks and cleaners, but they're not okay with Lex putting his hands on them.
But we've also seen that Lex talks a big game, but he doesn't always act on those games, too.
I'm not going to comment on that. Simply because Lex does have a history of acting out on his dark impulses if there's no one to stop him.
Yes.
He does, but he wouldn't have gotten a chance. But even Ryan would have jumped in. Heck, even Bray might have done something and jumped in.
That's what I said. He will act out on them if there isn't someone to stop him.
If there's not someone to stop him.
So if he doesn't think someone will stop him, he'll do it. That's why I'm not going to say that he's all talk. I do believe Lex will act on his violent tendencies because he has.
Yeah. But I think the girls, especially Amber, made a good call in realizing they would make sure he would not get that chance.
I think Amber there's this joke about black people and white people where white people have an I hope kind of stand on the world. I hope things don't go wrong. I hope things go well. Where black people have a I wish, which is I wish our mother would. You know what I mean? And Amber, the way she's talking to Lex is like, oh, I wish you would. Please put your hands on one of us. Come on. I wish you would. That's what she reminds me of.
We'll go together and I'll carry the water.
No way. I'm not putting my men at risk.
Then we'll go on our own.
There's Zandra out there with demon dogs and locos roaming around. Getting caught by that lot. She'd be a real prize, wouldn't she? They'd really like her.
I can do it on my own if I have to.
And I'll come with you, Amber. And me.
I wouldn't let you anyway. You get caught and you'll give the rest of us away.
That leads us on to yet another crisis that happens in the mall, which is the water leak. And it's a situation where obviously Lex quickly latches on to try and get everyone back under his thumb, as he orders them all to fetch water from the stream to replenish the water tank which has leaked. And obviously the girls refused to carry all the water for the guys defending them, and a standoff ensues. What are your thoughts again about the different reactions to this situation? Because on the one hand, you have Ryan going completely overboard, saying the girls are going to die off first, and then you have like Lex terrifying Zandra. What did you think about just the fallout from that scene?
I like that this is the moment where you really see the difference between Lex and Ryan, because Ryan can be just as selfish as Lex, and he's totally on board with hiding portions from people, and as long as he he wins out. He's fine going with whatever Lex wants to do. But I do like that you see this is where his line in the sand is. Ryan is not okay with making other people suffer just so that he can have what he wants. If he feels that they're going to actually, something bad's going to happen to them, he's not cool with it at that point, and I like that this is where you see this is his line. He won't ever go as far as Lex in that direction because he's not okay with someone else suffering. And just the idea that the girls could suffer without water is enough to throw Ryan into a moral quandary. Like, no, we all know how important water is. All it takes is 3 days to die of dehydration. I'm not going to let that happen, and it makes you wonder if he realizes the girls are right to be fighting them, because why else would he assume that they won't back down? He fully believes the girls won't give in and they'd rather die than give in, and he scares Ryan. He's like, I don't want that to happen. I'm not that kind of person. I like how clever Lex is about this whole thing. He realizes he can't force anybody to do what he wants, so he has to think outside the problem. And this is a very smart way to try to manipulate people to do exactly what you want by, painting it as, this is practical. Come on, you guys get the water. We'll keep you safe. And he's not expecting to be questioned on this. And the way he's trying to shoot down Amber, by scaring Zandra is very clever on his part. It's a good scene. You can see it's all falling apart for him. Like, sorry, Lex. It's not working.
And yeah, following on from that, was anyone surprised by Dal's comments? He's quite anti-girl in his thinking.
Oh, I know. What a little misogynist.
I'm quite surprised. Yeah.
He's worse than Jack. Like, he's vehement about it. I thought we weren't doing girls' chores, and he's just so angry. Like, he's being put in a girl's position, and he freaking hates it, and he's so mad. And like, Dal, geez, I expected better of you.
I think it's an important moment for Dal as well, because it makes him realize what they're doing to the girls.
Yeah, like, this sucks. I don't like this, Yeah,
it must have made him think a little.
Does anyone wonder if, we discussed Dal and Amber's friendship and how it's usually Amber calling the shots. Do you ever wonder if Dal has felt emasculated by Amber and this was his chance to all the guys?
I was just going to say something like that. So yeah.
I think you have a very good point there.
I just wonder, because it seems so strange that Dal would be so on board with a system that oppresses the girls as long as he's benefiting from it, when his best friend is a girl,
I always thought that he was trying to hook up with the guys more so than the girls. That was him kind of feeling his way into the group. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
I mean, he's not big. Dal's very small, so he can't use his force on anybody. He, even in a relationship that's completely egalitarian, his female friend is the boss, and he just does what she wants. And all of a sudden, there's a chance to get something good by dealing with the boys rather than the girls. And yeah, I kind of wonder if it has anything to do with that residual resentment of emasculation.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I totally think.
Yeah, I didn't think about that before. Yeah, that's a really interesting point.
Because, you guys pointed out, wow, when you think about how all the boys are acting in this episode, Dal seems the most vehement about not doing girl stuff. You get the sense that Jack is just along for the ride, and if it doesn't work, whatever, but Dal's very angry about it. No, we're not supposed to be doing this, and how dare you make me cook, and I never learned how to do this stuff. I shouldn't have had to do it. Wow, Dal, take it easy.
I still think it's an interesting choice to make Dal cook, whereas Jack had already proven that he could cook in episode 1 or 2.
Well, that's another thing. Maybe that's what Dal's mad. I mean, of all the guys that Lex had to choose to do the girl stuff, he picked Dal. That's almost an insult. You're the least masculine among us. Go cook something. It's he just
even Jack can do that.
He just kicked Dal metaphorically in the nads right there. Go get your apron, dude. I was like, I'm the girl of the group. What?
Of course, it makes sense from Lex's point of view, because, Jack could rat him out about the water, whereas
Dal doesn't have anything on him.
Nope.
It's so surprising as well, though, because obviously Dal's this, prospective farmer, and he can like forage, and you'd think he'd be able to do put burnt crackers on.
Yeah, right.
I always wondered if he burned them on purpose.
Me
just
too.
just so he wouldn't have to do it again.
Because we see him cook later out in the wild.
He can do things in the wild. It's surprising. I don't know.
So why can't he cook like beans on toast? What happened here, Dal? Like, here, you want me to cook? You're gonna regret it.
Yeah. I mean, that's one way to make sure nobody ever wants you to cook again.
So true. I mean, how can you cook on an open fire eggs and, like things he's literally found out in the wild and puts a meal together and blows Trudy's mind. And he's like, oh yeah, I learned how to do this with my parents. And yet when he's inside with the convenience of a cook stove, can't cook.
Well, I know like my mom has always said that she's better at cooking on like a gas range than an electric range. I don't know, maybe he's better cooking out in the wilderness than inside. Giving some benefit of the doubt.
But they had a gas range because
it's not an open fire outside.
He's more used to fire timing.
Yeah, he's used to like in the elements than in the mall. I don't know.
Nah, I think he was just sticking it to Lex.
The way he throws his plate in front of him. There you go. The boy's like, it's burnt. Even the crackers are burnt.
I did like how Lex just smashes the plate.
Hey, that was one good meal for Bob.
Was it though?
Bread like Celine. I never learned. I thought we weren't doing girls' chores. It's a great lesson for kids watching, though. Instead of just saying, oh, this person would be a bad leader because such and such, children are able to actually watch what it takes to be a leader, what it takes to get people to listen to you. And while Lex is very good at, actually making a plan and being authoritative with his decisions, you can see his weaknesses as a leader. Instead of just being told he'd be a bad one, you get to see for yourself where he falls short in the leadership role. Not good with people. Admin's not his thing, and yet he's good at other stuff, and I think that's a really nice way to illustrate it. And the kids watching can contrast him with someone like Bray, who is supposed to be a really nice guy that we're supposed to be able to trust. But what is he doing the whole time? Sitting on his butt, not contributing, not helping the tribe at all. You may not like Lex, but he is doing his part for the group. And I think that's important for children to see and think about,
Anything the matter, Trudy?
It's Bray.
Yeah?
He's gone into a mood. He won't talk.
He's always in some sort of mood or another.
I think he's going to leave. After what you said this morning. You don't really want us to go, do you? I don't want to go, Amber. I'm scared outside, even with Bray. Now with the baby and everything.
Have you given her a name yet?
No.
Don't you think you ought to? And start taking responsibility for her? She is your child, Trudy.
I know.
And it would give Celine less opportunity to always be around.
Her.
She was only trying to help, Trudy. She was brilliant when you were ill. She can't help it if she's fallen for Bray.
Well, she can just keep her hands off him.
You're not listening, Trudy. I said she can't help the way she feels, but I don't honestly think she's trying to break the two of you up. You're doing that yourself.
Let's move on to Trudy, because we see a scene where she tries to apologize to Amber. She's clearly rattled by their earlier conversation where Amber tells them to leave. It's a little interesting scene because she tries to apologize, but underneath it all, she's really trying to get her to help her stop Bray from leaving. What were your kind of initial reactions to that scene? Did you think Trudy was being genuine, or like I said, it was just mostly to try and get Bray to stop leaving the mall?
I think it's a little bit of both. Because I've always looked at Trudy, like I said, as a young girl who never had to think about much. She was not upset by much, not a lot to vex her. Her parents were overindulgent. They loved her. And I mean, in her flashback, the world is ending. There's a virus, but the only thing Trudy's concerned about is a boy that she likes. That's how sheltered and perfect her world was. And I feel like this is genuine for her. The most important thing in the world to her is having Bray. I feel like she's very genuine about being terrified that he'll go away. And she doesn't think there's something strange about asking Amber to help her in this. I don't I don't think she sees it as being manipulative or disingenuous. I think she really does believe, like, this is so important. This is the most important thing in the world to me. Please help me. And just like she didn't think there was anything weird about telling a man whose brother just died that you never loved him and you love, the brother. She just has never had to think about that kind of thing. And now, wow, you haven't really had to think about other people, have you, Trudy? Because your parents made you the center of the world. So I do think she's being genuine when she's apologizing to Amber, but it's also extremely selfish because of her childish viewpoint, if that makes sense.
It does, but it actually always made me wonder if there was more to Trudy than just a spoiled little girl.
I'm sure there is. This is just what we're seeing. Just like there's more to Ryan than some daft guy who doesn't have a clue. This is just where Trudy is right now. She has plenty of layers. But we just haven't got a chance to peel them back yet. Look at her reaction when Amber is like, have you named your child yet? Trudy's like, oh, no, I haven't. And she's like, don't you think you should? And Trudy's like, yeah, I guess, maybe. And then, of course, she immediately just snaps at, Celine barged her way in. She's trying to steal Bray. And it's like, that's not what you should be focused on, sweetheart. The baby, that's what you should be focused on, but she's just not. It's not. And even the way she seems to think the way to fix this problem, that's just the baby's a means to an end. If she's a better mom, then Bray won't go away. And it's like, wow.
because one thing that she really says to Amber is that she's afraid that if she has to go with Bray, she doesn't dare to be out there on her own, even with Bray. So she wants to remain in safety of them all. And to me, it always looked like she was finally realizing that she has to do something. And, well, trying to make some sort of amends with Amber is a start to that.
Yeah. Oh, that pie in the sky, hopeful look in her eyes, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been there. I have. Oh, I was very dramatic and emotional when I was Trudy's age. I guess that's why I relate to her so well, because it's like I remember being that way between the ages of 13 and 15. It's like my brain blew up, oozed out my ears, and I lost my mind. And I was the most selfish I've ever been in my entire life. I'm glad my mother let me live. Thank you, Mom. I was so obnoxious. And I literally, the only thing that ever mattered to me were my friends and the boy I liked currently, and anything else was getting in the way. And I really did believe that weird, dramatic feeling that kids get, like, oh, my life is over if this doesn't go just the way I want it to. And every day, one thing can happen, and I feel like my life had just begun. Another thing can happen, I'd be like, it's over. I want to die. And so I look at Trudy, I'm like, I've been there. I was that girl. Good Lord.
So was I, which is probably why I'm reading way too much into that.
And when you're in that headspace, you think you're being completely rational. Yeah. I didn't think there was anything wrong with my behavior. I honestly didn't. And I was well raised, and I didn't think I was being selfish or just spoiled and unlikable.
It's just something about the way she's dealing, and we know that Ray did put some autistic traits into some of his characters. So I always wondered, after Bray mentioned that it was harder for Trudy, if that was maybe something they were hinting at but never saying. But that's just me reading way too much into everything.
I can't speak to whether or not Trudy might have been on the spectrum, but I can just say I relate to her.
I may just someday go bug Ray about that.
Leaders never got us anywhere, Amber. Look at the mess they got us into.
But it can't just be everyone for themselves, Bray.
How about everyone for each other?
A nice idea, but it's a dream.
Maybe for now. But if you don't have dreams, where are you?
So, when Lex cracks, how do you see it?
If he cracks.
He will. I know his type.
I bet you do. Do you know mine?
Not yet, but I'm working on it.
Oh, yeah. Let's talk about Sabine's favourite subject, Amber and Bray.
All right, bye guys. I'm gonna start drinking now.
Okay, cool. We have a nice cozy scene where we see the two finally kind of relax as they discuss leadership and roles. It was a really sweet scene, and it was the first kind of scene where I first kind of thought, oh, okay, yeah, these two could be quite the couple. It was a really cute exchange, and you can feel a bit of the chemistry start to open up between the two of them. But yeah, what do you think about that scene?
I wanted a bucket.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah.
Come on, it was cute. It was cute.
Okay, I'm going to be fair. If I were a Bramber, if I was someone who really shipped these guys, I would think this is adorable. You know what I mean? In a bubble, I think most of Amber and Bray scenes are adorable and very sweet. And Beth and Dwayne have amazing chemistry. That's what makes it work. You know? So if you're a Bramber, you're allowed to enjoy this scene. It's fantastic. I'm happy for you. I really am. I personally am not a Bramber. I don't hate them or anything. I'm just not. I don't think they're the great love affair that everyone else thinks they are. For me, I love Amber in the scene, but when Bray smiles that schmarmy smile, yeah, I'm right with Sabine. I gag. I'm just like, Amber, don't fall for this. Watching it today, my instinct was
Exactly.
Oh, Bray, I don't like this. I don't like it at all. I don't believe you. I don't believe you're genuine. And I just don't like what he's talking about. Like his excuse for not actually participating in the world and trying to make it better. He's just that dreamer who's got the freaking goatee and that weird ponytail. And all he's missing is a guitar and a pair of sandals. And it's like, do you have a job? Do you do anything? No, I'm a dreamer, man. I believe in us all for each other. I don't believe in leadership. And I'm like, oh, gross.
At least, because he's been talking about this kind of community aspect since with Trudy back when he was talking about the baby. He's at least consistent.
Ugh, we've all dated that guy. Ugh. Smells like patchouli, wears Birkenstocks. No, thank you.
It is cute. How about everyone for each other? It's a cute moment.
It's a cute, empty sentiment that he doesn't live up to. Okay, that's what it is.
I always find it shocking. Like 12 episodes in, we get our first Bramber fan service.
Yeah, this is only the first time, really. Yeah.
I don't even remember if there were Bramber fans like hardcore ride or die 12 episodes in, but like, wow. Guess they were calling it early or something. I don't even know.
Yeah, no, this was like the first proper scene between them where you can kind of.
So I guess this launched it all, which is hard. Like that just makes me gag.
Wow,
this is where it started, right here.
I do like the fact that of all the relationships, I do like the time that was put into Bray and Amber. You know what I mean? They don't throw these two together right away. They have a lot of emotional challenges to work through, and that's very realistic, and I like that. Again, if I was a Bramber, this is just a beautiful moment between them. It's like, oh, this is the beginning where they're finally starting to understand each other, and that's awesome. Just because I'm not a Bramber doesn't mean I can't see it or that I despise it, because I don't. I don't have an issue with them. I'm not in love with them. But it's just the way Hill feels when she sees Lex and Amber. It's like, oh my gosh, it just makes her heart flutter because she really loves their chemistry and loves them.
That's why I can't do Bramber.
You know, if they had eventually gotten together for Hill, those moments between Lex and Amber would have given her the same thrill that this scene gives Brambers. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to judge anybody for thinking this is amazing. It's like, I'm happy you have it. Doesn't do much for me, but that's okay. I'll wait till Tyson and Lex start getting it on, and I'll get all happy. You know what I mean? We all have our couples. Just be respectful of the couples people have. You know what I mean? I try to be fair like that.
Oh, it's not that I disrespect people.
No, I just think there's a lot of them, and they're very vocal.
They're very vocal, and it just feels forced. I mean, sometimes it feels like
couples are forced. I don't know.
But
it's not forced.
I don't think it's forced. I think there's a lot of Bramber people, and I personally don't see it just because I don't think Bray is, material that I necessarily like for Amber, but whatever.
You know what? I get where Hill's coming from. It's like all the people who love Ross and Rachel from Friends. There's so
Yes.
many people who love Ross and Rachel that it makes
And
me
yet-
want to vomit when they're one of the most unhealthiest couples
exactly.
I've ever seen. And you're
Thank
surrounded by Ross and Rachel lovers, and you're just like, ew. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Can we talk about
That's
a healthy
exactly it.
relationship on the show, please? So I feel like that's where you're coming from, Hill. You're
Thank
just sick
you.
of it.
Yes.
You're sick of it. Like, okay, I get it. You love Bramber. There are better couples. Can we talk about them, please?
Thank you. Yes. And once again, for the record, Dwayne Cameron is an amazing human being. I love him as a person. I love Dwayne. Bray, not so much. Just gotta disclaimer that before.
Yeah.
We love you, Dwayne.
Hey, Lance, now I'm curious.
I think what I like most about Bray and Amber is the fact that they spend more time apart than together. If you see what I mean, I think that's what endears a lot of people to them.
And see, that's one of my biggest problems with them. They are not a couple defined by actually being in a relationship. They are defined by separation,
being apart.
And that's not a relationship in my eyes. That doesn't work for me.
Why everyone sees the kind of buys into the kind of soulmate aspect.
Yeah, and I'm just like, these two never ever get past the first hurdle of actually being in a relationship because they never get the chance to have one, you know.
Sure.
And for some people, that's very romantic.
It's got a tragic romance about it. Yeah,
right. You know, and I'm just not one of those
Juliet.
people. So that's why it doesn't work for me. Because I'm just like, every time these two get back together, they're dealing with the same issue because they've never been able to get over it, because they've never been together long enough to get over it. And it's
They never trusted each other enough.
Oh, wait, no.
There were always trust issues there.
I will just say this, that Sabine just hit on my biggest problem with the two of them. I'm not going to go into a tangent about their trust issues. Someday we'll discuss the trust issues between Amber and Bray. So, yes, Sabine, I totally understand where you're coming from there.
Yeah.
Single-handedly protect these two because I've got my work out for me.
Good, Lance. Let your claws out. Defend something. Go for it, buddy.
I can see, future episodes we're going to have a lot of fun.
I've decided to call her Brady.
Brady.
Oh yeah, I see it. It's a combination of Bray and Trudy.
That's pretty cool.
That leads us to our final thoughts of the episode, where we have the big banquet. Yeah. This scene was quite funny because you see Zandra in a full Tudor outfit.
Oh, so gorgeous.
She's
killing it.
Yeah.
I love the name Brady. I really do. And even if it had nothing to do with Trudy and Bray, that's just a cute little name. And
It is cute.
It's so cute. But it's so awkward for Bray, you can tell. Like,
let's talk about that because how awkward was this scene? And you see
that was
cringe.
Or smile, it was. I felt so bad for Bray in that scene.
I always wondered if she even told him she was going to name the baby that.
No, she didn't.
No, she totally didn't.
You can tell,
she's still living in her fairy tale world that she can get what she wants, and it doesn't matter how he feels about it. You know, she wants him, so what he feels doesn't matter. He's just supposed to fall on board.
Yeah.
That's what she
and
sees
maybe she thought that naming it Brady would I shouldn't call her it, but naming Brady would somehow endear Bray to her. I don't know. But it's just cringy.
It's like, look how cute we can be. We can be a family. Bray. I'm gonna prove it to you. And he's just like, oh no. And everyone's already talking about them like they're a couple. Despite knowing that Bray's not the father, it's already been decided for Bray that they're a couple. He's just stuck in this, and as much as I may not like him, I wouldn't wish that on anybody. That is a horrible thing.
Because even Amber says it to Trudy earlier. Celine's not trying to break up you and Bray.
Yeah, she's referring to them already as a couple.
Yeah.
And it's like, you guys, they're not. But everyone just sees him as that.
I don't know if during the banquet when they announced the name, everyone's like, oh, I see how it is. And they're very supportive of it being a combination of Bray and Trudy.
Yes.
I think it's she was hoping that if she made it a big deal, oh, see, we're trying to patch things up. He doesn't know, but now if you guys are all on board with this, he's going to have to come to me.
He doesn't know.
Yeah. Because that's the thing. You're not going to say, oh, that's cute, you named your baby that, but you two aren't together. You're a delusional, I don't want to say what I'm thinking, but you're a delusional person you.
Well, I think Trudy thought that was going to work because obviously they already had that falling out over Martina and the Zutina line. Why did she think like connecting Bray would? I know why in her mind.
Delusional.
But, like, she's a child living in a fantasy. Hopeful. She's a child living in a fantasy, and that's all that matters right now is that fantasy. She can't see outside of it, and she doesn't want to see outside of it. This is a safe fantasy to have, and she's all in for it. It's a selfish kind of love, you know. It's a selfish affection to have for somebody. It's the same way Martin treated her. I want you. I care about you. I don't care how I get you. I don't care how you feel about it, you know. And if you don't get on board, I'm going to cry and throw a fit. It's the female equivalent of a man asking a woman to marry him in public, a woman he knows doesn't really want to get married. If I put her in a public setting where she will be pressured to accept it, I can guarantee I'll get what I want from her. And there are plenty of people who fall for that. They're just, everyone's there. They're at the game and the Teletrons, like everyone can see them. You can't say no. And
that's exactly what she did
right now.
I think it wasn't just to get at Bray. It was also to get at Celine.
Yes, absolutely.
Like
look at us.
Staking her claim. Look, this baby is named after him.
It's a public performance.
It's just a whole, it's to get at everything. She's marking her territory is what she's doing. You know, no one will now be able to claim that is not her space. Like, she did it in a very public way where, you know.
And of course, Bray couldn't say a thing. He
couldn't
say anything.
Because now if you say anything, you're against her and you don't want them to work out and you're in their business and, you know. It's all on you, not her being crazy.
Suddenly, if Bray says anything right now, he's discouraging her progress. Everyone's happy that she's naming her child and that she's trying. And if he says, oh, that makes me uncomfortable. I don't really want my niece named after me in that way. I sort of suggest that I'm her dad, and I don't want that. Everyone's gonna be like, "Wow, Bray, you're such a jerk." You know,
you're a tool.
You could literally see the weight of responsibility hitting his shoulders. He was like, "No, run!"
Right? I give them prop. Like, if this really happened in real life, like the not running away, like you're crazy and booking it out of there.
Sticking with the banquet, obviously we have Patsy's fantastic line.
Not that sexy, Rota.
I love that line.
But yeah, it was nice to see them all bonding. Obviously, apart from Lex, who we see in his office
brooding
how to take care of Amber. Yeah.
I did love that just before this banquet, that Ryan instantly figured out that, okay, so if I get you some water, can I have some of this pie?
I love that scene between them all talking, Zandra and Celine and Ryan. It's such a sweet scene. I love the friendship between Zandra and Ryan and his unrequited crush on her. And I love how he puts two and two together. Like, I love pie. It's such a sweet, well acted scene, and I love how
it's adorable.
The delivery of that.
If I got you water, could I have a piece? And the girls are just like, got him. Absolutely, Ryan. That was helpful, and I love that. And I think it's a great carte blanche move for Amber, and Lex knows she's won this round. He knows, you know what I mean. It's a great. She's just like, check and mate, mofo, and all he can do is go in his office and brood about it. Like, I don't know how I'm going to come back from this defeat. It's very, very clever. Because the girl's like, what are we going to do now, Amber? And she's like, don't worry, we go in for the kill. And it worked. It was a masterful move, man.
It really is.
She got everybody on board. Everybody's like, yes. She uses Trudy naming the baby as a way to get everybody at the table. We're celebrating. So everybody's welcome to sit here, and hey, Ryan helped out, so he can join us. And hey, boys, Jack and Dal, we want you to see what'll happen if you work with us too. And it's just masterful, so clever, and I love it.
She was so skilled in just saying Lex, do you want to join us? Because there was no way he could really say yes.
No, without losing face. I love when he's like, you guys, I want to talk to you now. And they're like, but the pie will get cold.
Yeah.
And it all comes back to his earlier comment about nobody gets between Ryan and his hamburgers.
It's true.
No one comes between Ryan and his food, not even Lex wanting something.
So brilliant. Masterful stroke.
Yep.
Even the way that scene is filmed is fantastic when you got Lex coming up the stairs and Bob like in the
That's one of my favorite shots.
There's a lot of great shots in this one, and I love those up the stairs shots.
Yeah.
And Bob is just laying there. Guarding. Oh, that annoyed me so much in the beginning when the girls were all up in the cafe and they put up this barricade and they put Bob in front of the barricade.
I was like, don't worry, ladies, I got it.
But all I was thinking was, oh, poor Bob.
Oh, yeah, you reminded me, there was quite a few good shots in here because I remember there was a scene with Amber, Zandra, and Celine where it's kind of the reverse shot of the two in the mirror.
You can only see two of the girls in the mirror. It's fantastic.
Really well done.
Yeah.
It's a good one, too.
Some very good, clever camera work in this.
And I think now, like, you know, we're at the point in the story where we've gotten through all of the talking points. So now they're using the camera a lot more as a character, which is really cool. Like, they're able to do some of those cooler shots.
And yes, Zandra's outfit at the banquet is top-notch, amazing. I want it. I was like, okay, Marie Antoinette, I love this. It's a good look.
She got to be her princess.
Yeah.
And they all have little touches, little decorative touches. You know, Amber's got colors in her hair. You can see Celine has like little sparkles to accentuate her makeup. The kids, even Trudy is wearing a little bit of glitter, a little bit of sparkle and gems on her cheekbones. And I'm like, oh, it's nice. Look at them. They all have something to celebrate.
It's another sense of occasion.
A sense of occasion. And I love when Amber does things to her knots. I just think it looks great. And red is such a good color on her.
Yeah.
And I love that she got Sandra involved with that. Like, acknowledging Sandra has that skill.
I was going to be a hairdresser. I was going to go to class for it and everything.
Yeah, you still can be.
That's what I like about you, Amber. You're so positive. You always believe good things will happen. Like, oh, Sandra, you're so sweet.
But even when they mention there not being any batteries, she instantly goes, I'm sure Jack and Del will work something out eventually.
Yeah. It's a great moment between the girls.
Yeah.
I did think there was something interesting about that scene, since this is our final thoughts. This stuck with me. Well, Celine, her refusal to simply admit that she's into Bray. You know what I mean? And how irritating Zandra finds that. Yeah. And I was curious about that because Zandra is not a hypocrite. She's very straightforward and honest. One of the most honest and genuine characters. And so it is obvious that Celine likes Bray. Everyone can tell. And they've all called her out on it. And yet she insists on playing the Vestal Virgin, I guess is the best way to say it. Like, if some reason she feels ashamed for liking him, like she shouldn't, like she's not allowed to be interested in this guy, and to admit so is to say something bad about herself, because she's really hanging on like, I don't know what you're talking about. And it's like, come on, Celine. Everybody knows. Like, why are you acting like you don't feel that way about him? I did find that fascinating. I'm kind of curious as to why Celine is so adamant not to admit that she likes Bray.
I think that might just be because everyone looks at Bray and Trudy as a couple, and she doesn't want to be the one to break up the family.
I get that, but like so much of the show, just like with Trudy and the baby, like if we would just talk about our thing, like we would save so much time. Like I want Celine to tell everyone that she has these feelings.
I think she's just more concerned about what people will think of her, because she's not concerned about breaking up Bray and Trudy. Her actions prove that. She doesn't actually care about being the person who breaks them up. She just doesn't want to be
seen as a homewrecker.
Yeah, she doesn't want to be judged publicly by everybody.
Yeah, but like, I don't know. I think I would just like, what was the term? Like respect her more almost. Like, just come out and say it.
Yeah, but at that age.
Oh, I think her actions are perfectly appropriate for her age.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
they are.
I'm not looking at her going, well, why can't she be? She's 15.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's anything odd about it. I'm curious as to, what's going on in her head and recognizing that behavior from being that age.
Cool. So that brings episode 12 to a close. Thank you once again to the panel, and we will see you next time for episode 13. So until next time, bye.
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 Bye.